Hey, hi, all. Welcome back to BLR Knowledge Center. In this today's session, we'll talk about stress testing with K6 tool. In the earlier sessions, we have seen like K6 installation and uninstallation, and also we've seen a couple of demonstrations using K6 load testing, like running of sample load test and running of scenario-based load testing, and a couple of web tests. Now, how to run or how to write scripting for running a stress test. So stress testing is a type of load testing used to determine the limits of a system, right? So the purpose of this stress test is to verify the stability and the reliability of the system under any circumstances or extreme conditions. So it's all about the system performance, how it is performing when you run stress testing. So to run a stress test, I think we have to determine how a system will behave under extreme conditions, and also we have to determine what is the maximum capacity of system in terms of users and throughput. And also we should determine the breaking point of a system and its failure mode. Also, we have to determine if a system will recover without manual intervention after the stress test is over. So to look at all these aspects, I think we'll directly get into the demonstration part and see like how it is going to work out. I'm just opening this thing and just creating stress load test.js. So as usual, I think we have to import a couple of options here, like import HTTP from K6 HTTP, and then import a sleep where we need to put something time between every request and sunset. Advising to import this as well. And after importing these two packages here, just let declare the options, right? So options. So in these options, I think as I mentioned, so we have to mention it stages here, like so to determine different kind of scenarios to determine the system performance. So let us say like create stages kind of array here and define duration, right? So duration attribute is basically specifying the duration. So I'm just giving 2 seconds, or I'll say that 10 seconds, duration 10 seconds. So in this duration 10 seconds, so the target would be kind of 10, or you can say 100, right? So that means what it is basically specifying is a normal load kind of. So slowly it is, ramp up like till 10 seconds with 100 users slowly. Okay. And the second thing is duration. Like, I'm going to specify, um, after 10 seconds, target is, say 100 users. That means for the next 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I wanted to keep the system in the same load. Okay. And after that, another duration I'm going to define here is, next 2 minutes or next 1 minute, right? The target would be, again 150. That means so around a breaking point because after the normal load, because the first thing is this is something normal load. So 10 seconds it is definitely going to something like I'll just mention that 10 seconds 10 request, and 15 seconds I want to keep 15 request target. And after that next 1 minute, so I wanted to run through 20 requests. Okay. So similarly, like I wanted to break this because as I mentioned, the definition of stress testing is like, to break, to determine the breaking point of a system and its failure mode, right? So I'm just saying kind of 2 minutes, right? The target I'm setting as 100. So I just wanted to see that like how it is, or you just say 200. So I wanted to see like how it is performing in the next uh, 2 minutes, so that you will see how it is performing the load test. So in a similar way, I think beyond the breaking point, so you need to again set that cool system scalability, like another uh, 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to set my system to be run 300 requests. So at the same time, so another 5 minutes something. Now I'm going to set that duration is 10 minutes. This time I don't want to set any target. I just say calm down the aspect here. Okay, next 10 minutes I'm going to add. I'm not going to add anything. Do something or add request. So the first is duration 10 seconds. It is going to target 10 requests, and next 15 seconds I'm going to target 15 requests. In 1 minute I'm going to target kind of let's say like 100 requests, and next 2 minutes I'm targeting 200, 5 minutes 300, and next 10 minutes I'm not going to add any button on my system. Sorry. So once it is done, this configuration, let's define your URL here. Let's say I think that again export default. That is what the function I'm going to define it. Here again HTTP get of a URL which we are going to give it. So in this case, I think I'm going to copy this. Otherwise, I'll do one thing. I'll declare my URL like or the URL, right, is something this thing, and I'm going to run through that if you want. Not here, please. So the first time I think let me think of any something I can do. Let me see that if I click on that, so is something that is coming, right? So and okay, it's something that is running through. So for now I think just give that same URL stuff, and you mentioned save time and see like how it is working. Fine. So I'm just mentioning my stages here in my options, like duration 10 seconds, duration 15, duration 1 minute, duration 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And let's see like how it is running. K6 run stress testing. So now it started default up to 300 looping virtual users, 18 minutes 24 seconds, or 6 stages. I mentioned here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stages. So the last thing I mentioned is 10 minutes, right? So up to 300. So this thing I mentioned last one, 300 users, right? So actually used for 18 minutes 25 seconds was 16 stages. Graceful ramp up down 30 seconds, and graceful start was 30 seconds. So now you can see like running through virtual users. So you have mentioned 300, right? So this is what the count it has. Well, it has been assumed. So count virtual users of 300. So for 45 has been done, and these many requests is completed, and default. This is the stuff it is showing here. How much time it is taking. So you mentioned sleep time 1. So generally, every second it is going to hard, and after that it is going to hit a next user request, right? So and once it is done, I'm almost 300 users count. I think so far it is 84 and 85. And it will take some time to come through. And I think uh, you also can write the batch kind of stuff here. So that means if you come to here, so instead of this thing, right, you can write http dot get or batch our batch. Yep, we have a batch, so you can specify the batch of request here instead of this thing. That means here instead of direct case here, so here you can directly specify the URL right there. So but in this case you can give the batch of request. So that is very simple to specify that kind of what was that get and put. So let us say like I wanted to do that get method here, of type, and then you specify dollar of the URL and base URL you have to mention here like constant, right? Let us say like web URL is some URL here. Okay, so that URL you can use it here. Let us say like same URL I'm going to mention it here. I'll use that variable is web URL, right? So slash and the kind of name you will be having it. So when I look at here, this is what the stuff I'm going to mention it. So we just mention the stuff, right? And then close. And similarly, you just give another URLs of get a post request. It all depends on. So this way, I think you have to mention the multiple requests, the same HTTP get. Okay. So once you done this, you know, do this, and then you start running your stuff. So instead of this same, point or the request you're looking for, you just change it every time. So this time I'm going to do this particular thing, then the URL would be different. So this is the URL in this case, right? So I'm going to change this URL to different. And also I think if I go for another thing, I'm going to say this is something different. I'm going to give it this URL. I'm going to take it here. So that way, I think you change to all these endpoints. So this is something I just taken here as a website and just changing the website here. But when it goes to API, I think you have different endpoints, right? So those endpoints you can simply give it here. That way, it is going to run through, batch at a time. So this is something stress it is putting on your system. To determine like how your system is running. So like validating your system will behave under extreme conditions, because I mentioned here 10 minutes, right? The no target, but still 5 minutes. I mentioned 300. It is looking for 300 requests or 300 users. So far it has been sent to server. The request count was 21,000, 22,000, something like that. So no interrupted iteration so far, but we'll see like how the results are coming up with this stress testing. So basically, this stress testing is used for to verify the stability and reliability of the system under extreme conditions. Okay, this is one kind of load testing used to determine the limits of the system and to understand how your system is going to work on extreme conditions. So it is very useful for running load test on this website, which is running 24 by 7. Basically, looking at these stats, you can understand like how the system is and what kind of problems it is having it to run kind of targets you're going to mention it in the scenarios and stages. Still, I need to wait for another 50 users requests, so I think it is crossing 30,000 requests. So let's see like how much time it is going to take. So for 60 minutes, 6 minutes, but it has been than 18 minutes based on the stages. So okay, 300 looping virtually is for 18 minutes, 25 seconds, or 6 stages. So because 5 minutes, 5 and uh, 10 and 5 is 18, 18, 25. This is what time it is taking. Okay. 10 minutes, 10, 15, 15, 17, 18 minutes, 18 and 25 seconds. 18 minutes, 25 seconds. You are mentioned, you have been mentioned the script. So it basically takes that default time and then assumes that how much time it has taken to loop to 300 max target you mentioned in the options. Okay. So for 70, so another 30 requests, 13 user requests, we have to see that. So then we see like how results being the ramp up and populated with this basic load testing. And there is one more example I'm explaining you about how to run a batch statements here, batch of HTTP request. So you have to give ID script and run through basic load testing. So something taking time. The thing was, when you look at this, the way of writing this K6 load testing scripts, so these are very, very straightforward and having simple neat syntax, and anybody and any person who's coming up with a JavaScript knowledge can easily write a script here, and they can run through a load test. So it's very easy for any developer, and it's having some fun in doing and using of the CLI commands as well. 90, so another 10 requests, another 10 users request. We have to see that, so how it is. So another 3 and the 7 and the 7 and 4 or 6. Yep. So let's see like what, yep. If you look at this, is very straightforward, and so no no uh, difficult logic or difficult things being involved here. Straightforward syntax or using it as normal known words and word phrases here, like stages, duration, targets. It's a simple terminology we are having it in K6. So I think it's good in understanding and writing the script. So here you mentioned 5 minutes 300. So it is something. Mm-hmm. So I think we have to wait for another 18 minutes, it seems, because you mentioned 10 minutes running this. So 18 minutes you have to wait it. I think we should close this. And if required, I think it's better to run through different, lesser time. Okay. And coming here, I just wanted to run this right. So because it's batch testing, how it is running. So if you run this again, so again it started running with a batch warning, fail, 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 why? Unsupported protocol. What is the unsupported protocol? UI equals to file unsupported protocol. Okay, I think we should go looking at okay. Start again. Okay, I think we find here. MCQ pick find true no connection. Okay, it's happening here was to get and UI. The fun in that, that's not good from HTTP batch cases. Let's see like batch case how it is running. Okay. Mhm. Change that if you mm, yeah, might be that dollar is not recognizing the, so we have to get to that. Um, This is something we need to run the batch process as well. Okay, so I hope you understand the tips of writing batch statements as well as the stress load testing, right? Stressed. So with that, so just ramp up and then just close this session. We'll see what's coming in the next sessions. All about run through .NET API and is your website are taken default. So now we'll see like we'll write an API and see like how K6 is running on API endpoints. Okay. So thanks for listening to this video and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.